Corn is one of the major agricultural products of Essex County, and this building near Kingsville, Ontario, contains a lot of corn. But a well-stocked pantry is handy to have when you are expecting guests to drop in for a meal. Each year, thousands of birds migrate the length of North America. The Canada geese spend their summers nesting near the shores of Hudson's Bay, and as winter nears, they move southward, following the diminishing food supply. The Jack Miner Bird Sanctuary, near Kingsville, Ontario, provides a haven where they can feed and rest before attempting a long flight across Lake Erie. Manly Miner, eldest son of Jack Miner, was asked how the bird sanctuary came about.
It was in 1904, when my late father, Jack Miner, was 39 years of age, that he conceived the idea of starting a bird sanctuary to protect birds and feed them. It was in 1905, February 1905, when I went with Father to the Henry Julian farm at Oxley, a few miles away, and secured 4 wing-clipped birds. Geese were liberated in our pond that he had excavated in 1904. And the wild geese were so scarce that none joined them till 1908. In 1908, 11 came. In 1909, 32 came. In 1910, 350 came. It became a problem to raise corn or get enough corn to feed them. So during the winter months, when we were not running the brick and tile factory, which was our business, Father started on lecture tours and had a career for 30 years, from 1910 to 1940, from which he financed his program that he had started some years ago. In 1936, I conceived, as eldest son, the problem of what was going to happen to the place when Father could not lecture anymore. So we created what is known as the Jack Miner Migratory Bird Foundation, and was created by an act of Parliament of the Ontario government, which says who is to be president and secretary and how the place is to be managed. And the government gives us a small grant, and the federal government gives us the grant, but 75% of the money is raised by contributions that are sent in by well-wishers, and many have died and left bequests in their will, which money is held in trust, and the interest used to finance the proposition or the program, and will carry on even after my brother Jasper and I are gone. And we give full thanks and full credit to the people, because if the people hadn't been helped finance it, we could not have carried on and gained all this scientific data we have in regards to banding and migration of the birds and giving them a place of protection that has been copied throughout North America, from the Atlantic to the Pacific, and from the Ontario and all of Canada south. Over 100 bird sanctuaries have been created that I have more or less suggested in the United States, and these birds go from one sanctuary to another. The hunters benefit from getting that goose as they migrate between these sanctuaries. But if it wasn't for a place for the birds to rest and feed, they could have been exterminated long ago. And the beautiful part about the sanctuary is it gives the people who do not shoot, 90% do not shoot, it gives them first chance of seeing the birds alive, while the other 10% hunters benefit around the outside of the sanctuaries throughout the country. Thus, everybody it's a unanimous venture with everybody to see that such sanctuaries are maintained and kept up for future generations.
Since the death of Jack Miner in 1944, the activities of the foundation have been continued and increased by his sons, Manly and Jasper Miner. In recognition of the work and in honor of the birthday of this pioneer conservationist, the week of April 10th is observed in both Canada and the United States as National Wildlife Week. Once the birds arrive, this quiet country road becomes the site of one of Canada's major tourist attractions. Visitors are thrilled by the sight of thousands of wild Canada geese on the ground and in the air as Jasper persuades them to perform. It's feeding time for the tame residents of the pond, providing entertainment for kids and ducks alike. Birds so badly injured that they are no longer able to fly become permanent guests at the pond, while still others may be nursed back to health in these isolation cages and sent on their way. On occasion, injured birds have been known to walk to the sanctuary for aid. Visitors to Jack Miner's are often a little shocked to find that there is no admission charge and that nothing is for sale. In maintaining this policy, Manly and Jasper are carrying out their father's wish that there be one place on earth where no money changes hands. In addition to being a tourist attraction, the sanctuary contributes to research and bird migration. Jasper Miner was asked to explain the banding operation.
This is the Jack Miner wild goose and duck net. And there's only a foot of water underneath. And we put shell corn and buckwheat and barley under there every night, possibly 400 to 500 bushel. And the geese swim under at sundown and feed in the shallow water. Now we feed them under there for a month before we attempt to catch them. And then at sundown, beginning the last of October, on a Friday night, we get in the hide that's way up in the trees there, and I can trip it by pulling a heavy wire which moves these small pipe along the outside, which we call pivot props. There are 8 in each side, which immediately drop both sides, this side and the other, and closes them under there.
Jack Miner banded his first duck in 1909. It was shot the following year in South Carolina. The first geese were banded in 1915, and a few months later, 4 of the bands were returned by Eskimos in the far north. Since that time, many thousands of birds have been tagged with this band, which always bears, in addition to a serial number and the name and address of the sanctuary, a quotation from the scriptures. The birds are not injured by the banding process, and one of the major problems is that after the operation has continued for several weekends, Jasper finds himself catching the same geese time after time.
Jack Miner banded 41,000 geese prior to his death in 44. 41,000. Started banding 1915. I, since then, have banded 855 at once. His greatest catch was 450 at once. And our youngest son, Robert, 16 years old, in December last year, came here on his own because I was getting a bit tired, and he made 2 catches, one 930 and one 1136. So with his two tries, he broke the all-time records. So you can imagine me as a father being quite excited, and to know that the younger generation of miners are still interested and enthused about our work.
When birds fall prey to hunters and the bands are returned to Kingsville, Manly and Jasper are able to plot the course of the migration. The information gathered is passed along to the Fish and Wildlife departments in both Canada and the United States. And now, with the advance of winter, the migration begins again. Some geese will remain here. The others rise on the wind, south across the lake. South across the United States. South to the swamps of Louisiana and the shores of the Gulf of Mexico. Many, victims of natural and human enemies, will never return. The survivors will come again next year, guided by memory and instinct. For here they will find food. Here they will find safety. Here they will find sanctuary.